Thank you for coming. So just a quick introduction on myself. I am Shant, CEO and founder of EtherMail. So basically, I wanted to get a chance to speak to everyone about, unmuting your Web3 community, which a lot of us probably know is a very big issue, right? So why is it such a big issue? I'm sure everyone feels identified with this image. You end up with tons and tons of messages on Telegram or Discord. There's tons of groups, fragmented. Communication gets really reduced, and then what happens is, people end up muting their groups effectively. So why is this so hard to get right in Web3? There's a variety of reasons, as we mentioned a few of them, but to really structurize it and organize this, it's basically you have unfiltered, unoptimized, unsolicited, unstandardized, and unmasked communication. What this basically means is that when you talk about unfiltered communication, as we mentioned in the chat applications, it's typically a bidirectional communication channel, which means that when you reach a certain scale of users, thousands, 10,000s, hundreds of thousands of users in a single chat, what ends up happening is communications ends up being like, when moon, when white paper, rocket emoji, fire, rug pull, FOMO. So then, everyone ends up muting it, and it's not really a useful experience, and so then companies can't really reach the users anymore because it's all been muted. When we talk about unoptimized communication, we're really talking about that they're not native protocols in the sense that none of it is really backed by the blockchain. There's no additional information or usage. It's not, let's say, you can even token gated for certain things, let's say in Telegram. Discord has some plugins, but there are a lot of these things where it's kind of, we're trying to put a square circle in a square peg in a circle shape. So they're not really meant to be. We're all using it in the community for now as a stopgap until something better is really coming out. When it comes down to unsolicited communication, it's very easy to fake certain types of profiles. This happens on Twitter, it happens on Telegram, it happens on Discord, and people are getting scammed left and right. They create landing pages that are very easy to replicate and then convince people to say, oh no, we're launching, and then because people missed official announcements, this becomes a huge problem and people are getting scammed left and right. And then it's unstandardized, it's not anonymous, so you can't do certain things just by knowing a wallet address. And you don't get an ability to stay anonymous. And so all of this makes it hard on a user aspect. But the consequences are then for the Web3 projects. Because of all of this going on the user side, what ends up happening is you have disengaged users. It's not personal. It's scattered across many different channels, and you get blocked, right? So examples of that is when you're disengaged, you have basically a 1% conversion or engagement, you could say, on your Telegram messages. You can just grab any channel you want, more or less, and then you can go and see how many followers there are and how many emojis or how many messages get responded. It's usually very, very low. And again, this is the muting problem, right? The other thing that it happens on these chat applications is it's very impersonal. So as we mentioned, since it's not backed by the blockchain or the activity you're doing, it means you cannot create customized experiences for them, customized messaging, or even emails. You can't do a lot of personalized things within these applications. So you're always just casting a wide net and hoping that the people are really interested in that. But as we know, there are, in a community or in a group, people are interested in certain things about the community, not all of it all the time. And as we mentioned, since it's scattered, some people have, some of the communities, they have a part of their community on Twitter, a part of it on Telegram, a part of it on Discord, and this causes a lot of management overhead because now to manage these channels, you have to create different format content, you have to have employees that are managing these channels, then to try and consolidate these KPIs, it just becomes a nightmare. So all of it is just really, really difficult. And ultimately, even when you want to do advertisement or do certain things, you get blocked, right? So on Instagram, there was the NFT community. I think it was owned by Mark Cuban. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but basically, it was one of the communities on Instagram that got blocked. It had millions of followers, and you were off, right? All that effort went to nothing. On Twitter, to do Web3 ads, it becomes very difficult because they say, oh, you don't comply with the policy. Google Ads, same story, right? So all of these channels really are a big problem for projects to grow or to reach new users or to maintain without the fear of being, removed because they're not comfortable. This also happened with MailChimp when they issued a notice that they got rid of a lot of the Web3 projects because, of course, they have reputational things and they have to think about their users. That's the justification, but in the industry, there needs to be a new solution to be able to offer all of these things, right? So fortunately, there is a solution that can solve all of these problems. Ironically enough, it's email. And even though it's not optimized for Web3, people are already using it, whether we like it or not, right? And there are some people that actually have written us and said we sort of hope email should die, and we prefer other things, but on their website, the very first thing they do is they ask you for an email newsletter. So that's actually quite ironic, because in the Web3 space, most projects are actually asking you to associate your wallet with your email, and again, you're giving up your identity when you do that. You start associating your personal with your wallet address, which is kind of a little bit against the ethos unless you're obviously willing to do it, and it shouldn't be mandatory. So here's are some examples of some of the ecosystem using email and how it remains king. So you can see this in logins from some top named projects. So Rare asks you to put in your email. Request Finance asks you to connect with a Google and your email, so you can't issue anonymous invoices. You have Audius that also asks you for an email. So everyone for logins is asking for email ultimately, because they know that their Telegram groups, their mediums are eventually not going to allow them to reach the community. So this is obviously very important for them. Another use case for email that is, and it is why it is king, is it's used for notifications and for security when something is happening on these platforms. So OpenSea and Rarible are also showing you that even in this space where they try and be as much anonymous as possible, they are still asking you for the email. And for ticketing, e-commerce, newsletters, I mean, you guys are probably attending a lot of the side events, and you probably had to fill out 1,000 Lumas and a bunch of other forms. And not only do they ask you to put in the email address, they ask you to also verify with your wallet. So now I'm doing like 3 steps or 4 steps instead of just doing this all in one. And email can, of course, really solve all of this. The great thing about email is also, in a way, while it does have some centralized points, it was decentralized sort of in nature, because you can use IMAP and you can sort of use your mail client with Gmail, you can use Outlook with Apple, you can do all of these things, right? It's always been a choice whether I do it or not, or whether I choose to move my email or not. There are improvements to be made, and that can be made with Web3. Now it's possible. But to understand email, right, it's been adopted for like the last 20 years. And email started off, you could say, with like POP3, and then everyone sort of decided, well, there's mobile phones now, how do I synchronize my data instead of taking it off? They all said, we're going to contribute and upgrade the protocol into IMAP so that my devices can do this. It's still, again, a choice from the users, and there is no reason to say that the industry will not sort of say, we're going to upgrade it again, right? And this is an opportunity with Web3 and the ecosystem that can be done. And the beautiful thing about it is if we do upgrade the protocol, for example, you have already 320 billion emails that are sent daily. You have about 4.3 billion people on the planet that use email. So it is widespread. In terms of Web2 users, companies, et cetera, it's something that everybody really understands. And yes, of course, right now it has its problems that it's not synced with blockchain, it's not anonymous, it has privacy concerns, and there are certain negative aspects, right? But by upgrading the protocol, we can really get rid of all of these things. So just to have a look a little bit at the landscape, you can basically see that there are Web2 companies that are participating in chat for, as we mentioned, Telegram, Discord, that are trying to solve, well, they're not trying to, but are being used to solve the problem for communication with Web3. In Web2, you've got certain companies that are already doing email, but again, they're not catering to, and not backed because of the problems we mentioned before. And on the right side, we do have Web3 native solutions that are trying to push forward new solutions, and whether it's a new protocol or it is improving the existing protocol, that are really trying to push new native communications, right? So what EtherMail, which is where I come from, is what we're proposing to do is to fix the communication problem, is that you can reach your audience again with email with a properly built solution or protocol. So with EtherMail, we sort of built 3 pillars. The first one we built was our personal mailing solution. The personal mailing solution, what it is let's say your Gmail inbox, right? So this allows you to start receiving and sending emails with your anonymous wallet. So it's basically your wallet address at ethermail.io, and this makes it very easy to understand your wallet address is your email, right? So that's the first pillar. Once we've enabled users to start sending and receiving, now we have built our B2B solution. Our B2B solution is, again, backed by the blockchain, and this allows companies to start reaching out to users. And this is very important because, again, if there's a primary sale to a secondary person and a tertiary sale, the companies usually lose contact. And again, they're sort of praying and hoping that so they're going to come back to my website and fill out a form. That might not be the case, right? But they are relevant stakeholders if they're holding your assets or anything else, and you should still be able to get in touch with them. So this solution that we have, because it is backed by blockchain data and events, it allows you to start reaching those users that have created this inbox. And ultimately, we have an advertising marketplace solution, which allows, as we mentioned before, there are companies like Google, Twitter, et cetera, that don't allow Web3 advertisement. With EtherMail, you could consensually reach new users based on profiling data or blockchain data, as long as it's consensual. And you, of course, since you have your wallet address signatures, you can definitely do this in a very consensual manner with their signatures. So how does it sort of work? EtherMail, as we mentioned, is basically you go in, you claim your address with your wallet, no extra steps, very simple, and you can already start sending and receiving emails from the second you just connect your wallet. If the wallet already had received emails from a certain company, the emails are there waiting for them, so no communication is lost. The history is maintained, and for example, you can see below what an example email address looks like. You have your entire 0x at EtherMail, so if you guys want to send an email, happy to read it. We have over 50 plus companies that have used and adopted the EtherMail solution. Some notable examples are Decrypt. So we had done in Miami the Crypties Awards. We did token gated, automatically triggering and sending for voting proposals to vote for your favorite communities. We've worked with some of these others, and we'll go into an example in a second. But for those of the companies that don't want, some of the users, sorry, that don't want to be 100% anonymous because they want to actually use it for other Web2 newsletters, et cetera, they can hook up their ENS or their unstoppable domain and also be able to receive and type it in as it was a normal account, right? So an example is, so since we are with many companies, we've worked with DAOs, we've worked with blogs, we've worked with NFT communities and all sorts. Just to give an example, because DAOs are quite known, we worked with DuckDAO, and so when we launched with them, basically they have 2 smart contracts with tokens. We were able to bring in their community, increase their engagement, and so we were talking about 30% reading rate with over 5,000 signups, and so they are able very much to keep in touch with these people in a rich format, long form. Highly engaged, and users understand, hey, this is my Web3 inbox, and this is where I need to get all my news instead of trying to sift again through their telegrams or discords. So here, a simple cohort analysis of kind of what EtherMail users kind of look like. Just to give you an idea, we have users that look at about 56% average read rates, which is really, really high. But the important thing here is it's high because it is relevant content. We make sure that this is relevant, and that is the absolute goal, because otherwise you run into some of the situations that Telegram and Discord have proven, right? But users are logging in, they are having engaged read rates, and this is an example of users that are receiving a digest once a week. So yeah, just goes to show that there is adoption for email in Web3, and if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time. Any questions?
With one of this email, you can write normal mail.
Yeah.
The email with EtherMail, you can write with any email or just with other
EtherMail?
So you can write to any other account. So you can write to Web2 and you can receive from Web2. So if you want to write to someone to Gmail or vice versa, it works. So the EtherMail accounts actually have different privacy settings with our privacy wall. So you have Web2 filters and Web3 filters. There are some defaults, but an example is for Web2 filters, you can sort of say, I want people from Web2 to be able to reach me. I only want highly secure domains that are, let's say, Amazon, Facebook, or whatever, in case you want to do e-commerce shopping so that the emails can still get through to you. Or you can say, I don't want anybody from Web2 to reach me, right? So it's a protection level that you sort of set. For Web3, you can also have the same similar settings. You can say, I only want the company that is the creator and the owner of the token to reach me. You can say, I want community members that have tokens or NFTs similar to mine because we're in the same community that they can reach me as well. Or you can say that I want everybody in Web3 to be able to reach me. Maybe you're interested in OTC offers or you're interested in certain situations where, if someone finds you and you want them to reach you, great. So you can do that, but you control it.
And what about the name of the mail? Like, is it guarantee that if someone write you from like a 0x or something, is the owner of that wallet, or anyone can take everything?
No,
and
so
second thing, there is an integration with ENS, so you can have 0x, or you can have even your ENS name and EtherMail.
Correct. So for the first one, yes. So you have to sign your transaction to be able to go in. So there is a proof of the account that it belongs to you. You can't just suddenly, access it. And the second one is, yes, we have ENS and unstoppable domains, so that you can, if you don't want to use your 0x, you can use any of these aliases. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Cool. Then we did a good job. Thank you.